platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. AMP2.TV, the first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP, the number 2.TV.
Talk here. Talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM. The Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN. Talk 1470 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM W237BD Boca Raton. The Health and Wealth Radio Network.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que St. Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
AM 1470, with more of what you need to know. Don't miss Travelers 411 with Stephanie Abrams each Sunday night from 5 to 7 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN.
Staying healthy is difficult. What nutritional supplements should you take? What foods are best for you? What health practitioner should you see? You've got health questions, I've got health answers. From heartburn to hemorrhoids, pain to pimples, carpal tunnel to the common cold, gluten to gallbladder, and gingivitis, and all points in between. I'm Dr. Bob Martin. Tune into my Sunday talk show at 10 o'clock on Talk 1470 WNN.
Parkinson's disease is a neurological movement disorder affecting an estimated 1 million Americans, including many under age 40. It has no cure. Parkinson's is not limited to how a person moves. It can also cause symptoms like depression, fatigue, and impaired speech. Today, there is a new diagnosis every 9 minutes, though Parkinson's can be present for years before being diagnosed. The American Parkinson Disease Association is the largest grassroots network in the United States, working to help ease the burden and find the cure. For more than 50 years, APDA has funded pioneering research and provided critical support to those affected by Parkinson's. Visit apdaoptimism.org today to find out how you can help millions live with dignity and optimism. Your action today will help APDA put an end to Parkinson's disease.
If you suffer from excruciating back pain, do not have surgery. Call Dr. Fernando Ranella, MD, and ask him about the new ozone therapy and how it can eliminate your back pain once and for all. End your suffering today. Call Dr. Fernando Ranella, the Center for Back Pain Management, 561-819-6325. That's 561-819-6325 or injectpainaway.com.
Talk health. Talk wealth. Talk politics. Talk 1470 and 95.3 FM. WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show, the place to fine-tune your swing, dress for the course, club, or cruise, and get tips on the best places to play and stay at the right price. Vacation or staycation, host Dan Shub, along with his expert co-hosts and guests, will tell you where to go. To play golf and vacation, that is. Now, here's Dan.
Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show. I'm your host, Dan Schub, and tonight, like we always do around this time, we're going to talk a little bit of golf, and we're going to talk some travel, and we're going to have some fun. I got some deals for you a little bit later on in the show, and we do have a couple of great guests that'll be joining us. I'm sure you're going to have lots of fun listening to them. We've got a returning guest, a fellow who we have on the show typically every year around this time, and no exception this year. We're going to be chatting with Ken Kennerly, and he is the tournament director of the Honda Classic, which will be taking place a little bit up the road, up in Palm Beach Gardens at PGA National Resort in about 2.5 weeks or so. That'll be kicking off, and it's one of the best tournaments, perhaps other than the majors, that you'll find throughout the entire year and throughout the entire country, and it just keeps getting better and better. So we'll find out what's new and who's playing and all that stuff from Mr. Kennerly in just a few minutes. And then a little bit later on in the show, we will be chatting with Michelle Lefkowitz, and she is the owner, or one of the owners, as well as the marketing director for Salute Market restaurant, which is just up the block, basically, from where the Honda Classic is going to be played. A very, very cool restaurant. It's been there for a couple of years, but many of us really didn't get a chance to go there yet. They have a very loyal clientele, and I, for one, had been driving past there for almost 3 years and didn't think to drive in until this past Wednesday, and had a wonderful themed dinner that they're offering up this month. It's kind of a French French lovers kind of a thing, I guess, appropriate with Valentine's Day coming up. And for those of you who can't make it to France, this might be the next best thing, some lovely food as well as wine. So we're going to be hearing about that in just a few minutes. And, of course, a little bit of travel news we'll try and squeeze in for you later on, a little bit of golf news too. I'm still recovering from the PGA Merchandise Show. Last Friday I had just gotten back from it and spoke a little bit about it, but got to see some of the wrap-up numbers, and there were about 40,000 people who attended, over 1,000 companies that exhibited, and quite successful. Of course, lots of new products got launched, and I've been hearing from all of these different companies and following up with many of the folks I spoke to, at least 40 or 50 of them that I'm going to try and get on the show in the coming weeks and probably the coming months it's going to turn out. So actually, starting next week, we're going to be talking to somebody from Bollé Sunglasses. I think it's a fellow by the name of Jim, but I'm not sure yet. And another fellow who I met at the show by the name of John Strader from a company called MG12. And he works with a product, the MG stands for magnesium, and a very important mineral that we need to have in our diets, and it can do wonders as far as killing pain. And they've been experimenting quite a bit for pain control as opposed to opioids, which is, of course, quite an issue. So I'm looking forward to talking to him next week as well. A little bit of other golf news. I'm always, up where I live, which is way north of most of you who are listening on the radio, unless you're listening on one of our streaming feeds on iHeart or on our website. I happen to live up in a place called Martin County, which is about 60 miles from where I'm sitting here in Boca Raton, I guess. And we do have a very famous golf course that I don't get to play because it's quite private. It's called the Floridian National Golf Club, originally built by a fellow by the name of Wayne Huizenga. You may know him. He had a house up there. He'd come up from down here in Fort Lauderdale from the day at work to his house by helicopter. And he built this golf course, which had no members at the time. I think he would play and Dan Marino would play, and that's about it. But he sold it to a fellow who actually owns the Houston Astros, which is kind of interesting, a fellow by the name of Jim Crane. And it seems that they've got some pretty famous members there. So just recently, I suppose, ex-President Barack Obama, who has played there many times, has become a member. And now it seems also George W. Bush has also become a member. And of course, Michael Jordan has played there frequently with President Obama and Michael Jordan. So it's quite a famous place. So it's kind of neat in my sleepy little town of Palm City to have such a illustrious private club with members of this nature. So I just thought that was pretty cool. So in any event, also in the world of golf, this past week, Julie Inkster was named the U.S. Solheim Cup captain for the third time. So congratulations to her. She's She's won the last 2 times, so I guess if it ain't broke, don't change it. So they're going to let her go for her 3rd victory with the team, so that's pretty cool. This week, the PGA Tour is the only one of the 3 major tours here that are playing, the LPGA and the Champions Tour, which will be playing here in Boca very soon, but they're all off this week. But this week we've got the Waste Management Phoenix Open, which is, the main thing it's known for truly is the mayhem on the 16th hole, where they get about 16,000 drunk fans screaming and yelling, which is certainly not typical for golf, but it's as long as it's only one tournament a year, I guess we could put up with it. It's in one hole that's really bad. The people who go, they enjoy it. It's different. But at the top of the leaderboard as I speak now, so if any of you are going to listen to the replay on Sunday, just close your ears for a second, because it's not going to make any sense to you. But currently, Ricky Fowler is on top of the leaderboard, and right behind him in second place is Daniel Berger. So 2 local guys who live right here in the area are right on the top. So I'm looking forward to the weekend to have an opportunity to watch some really good golf with some local folks playing, and it's just good. That a couple of weeks ago when all the tours were off, I couldn't cope. So I'm happy that at least I got one tour playing this week, and I believe next week we'll probably have 2 or 3 of them. I hope. I'm going to change gears just a little bit, because with the 2 guests that we have tonight, I might not have too much time to talk a little bit of travel news, as well as some local news for folks who live locally or are traveling into South Florida. And again, unfortunately for you folks who listen to our replay on WSBR 6 o'clock Sunday evening, this will be old news, so don't listen to this. But I did want to mention it for all of the folks listening live tonight, Friday night, that tomorrow night is an interesting opportunity at a place that myself and my board engineer Ken, we like to frequent. It's the Hard Rock in Hollywood, and they're having a huge poolside beach party going on, or a pool party going on tomorrow night that's open to the public, which is really unusual, because usually you got to be a hotel guest if you're going to get into these parties that they have there. So it's going to be tomorrow night, which is Saturday, February 3rd, from 7 to 10. There's going to be a guest DJ holiday, and they're also going to have live performances by several other top-rated acts from the Northeast market, including Lost in Paris, Kristen and the Noise, and Go-Go Gadget. So it's you got to be 21 years or older. Admission is free, which is pretty cool. There will be food, there'll be drinks, which you do have to buy. That won't be free, but it's just kind of neat to be able to get in there. It's a beautiful pool complex, and I enjoy hanging out there. But of course, that's when I'm staying there. I've stayed there a few times, and that's awfully expensive. There's also going to be an after party at the Hard Rock Cafe with Lost in Paris and a surprise guest performing from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. So again, that is Saturday night, February 3rd, Hard Rock Hollywood Hotel and Casino. I may be getting a little preview tonight. I may go check it out myself, so we'll see. Also, here's an interesting story for Floridians, and this originally appeared in southernliving.com. And this is, I don't know how they're going to pull this off, but it seems that there is a 2 new bills in our state legislature, I suppose, called the Sunshine Protection Act. And it's all about making it daylight savings time year-round in the state of Florida. So, it's the sunshine state, I guess, and I guess during the winter months there's not enough sunshine, and some folks would like to have an extra hour year-round, and I think that's pretty cool. It also would have the entire state in the same time zone. Currently, some of the panhandle is actually on central time, so they're, same state, different time zone. So I just don't know what happens. I mean, I know that I guess Arizona has always had a situation where like part of the state was did daylight savings and part didn't, and it's very confusing to me. So it may be very confusing even more so if our state does something different and other states don't. So I just don't know how to react to all that. I do like an extra hour of sunlight though, but this was something that I heard about, and my guess is not too many of you heard about it, so I just thought I'd throw it out there. It's just kind of food for thought. So keep your eye on that, and we'll see if that comes to a vote, and if it passes and becomes a law. That'll be very interesting. Also, here's another interesting story. We've been talking a lot about the Caribbean and the hurricanes, and the fact that many of the islands have had, just tragic damage, and they're trying to come back. Other islands didn't have as much damage, but tourists have been staying away because they're confused. And, of course, a lot of the people living in these islands that do require a little bit of help, many of us have contributed. A lot of the cruise lines have contributed. And here was a story. I've been reporting from time to time about cruises that have these music themes with all these different concert performances as part of it. And here's one. It's totally sold out. Most of them sell out. It's the legendary Rhythm and Blues Cruise, and it's setting sail, I guess, this week. It leaves, I think, Saturday or Sunday for a 7-day cruise from Fort Lauderdale. And they got 25 blues bands playing on it, but they're making stops in Grand Turk, San Juan, and Tortola. And these are islands that sustain significant damage. And what they're going to be doing is they're going to be putting on some performances in the ports for the locals, as well as donating more than $10,000 to the Second Harvest Food Bank as well in Puerto Rico, for instance. They're also going to be raising money or bringing, I guess, the passengers from British Columbia that are going to be on board have raised $15,000 in funds themselves for the rebuilding of a school in Tortola. So just really, really nice to hear that people go out there, they have a lot of fun, but yet they're doing something really good for the places that they visit, the locals that are in desperate need of help. So it's good to hear. Bluescruise.com is where you can learn more about it. Like I say, it's sold out this year. They had some great acts, but next year you may want to get on board. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to take our first break, and after that we will be chatting with our first guest, which is Ken Kennerly, the tournament director for the Honda Classic. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more of the Golf and Travel Show. We are back, and if your business needs industrial workers, or if you're looking for work, you got to call Labor Finders. Labor Finders places for temporary or temporary to hire opportunities for skilled, semi-skilled, or general labor positions such as plumbers, electricians, concrete workers, forklift operators, hospitality, office clerical, special events, and much, much more. Labor Finders has almost 200 offices nationwide. Near here in Boca Raton, they have offices in Homestead, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and in Jupiter. So if you need legal, insured workers, or if you're looking for work, call Labor Finders toll free at 800-864-7749. That's 800-864-7749, or visit laborfinders.com.
It's all right. I'm gonna wake you up early 'cause I'm gonna take a ride with you. We're going down to the Honda shop. I'll tell you what we're gonna do.
And we are back, and I'm desperate to find a new song about the Honda that I could play. And every year I played the Beach Boys, I got tired, so I figured I'd find a different version, and didn't work so well. That was the Hondells, believe it or not, who did an early version of Little Honda. But I have to say that our next guest, he may hold the record for being invited on the show more than anybody else, because we typically don't invite anybody back more than once. But every year, pretty much, we come on and have Ken on, and we talk about the Honda Classic, because it's an event that's close to my heart and close to my office, which makes it convenient. So I love it. And once again, to find out what's going on, just about 2.5 weeks away at the Honda Classic, we've got the tournament director, Ken Kennerly. Ken, are you there?
I'm here. Hey, guys. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm fine. By the way, I love the music. I mean, we are in South Florida, and, you know, it is all about, lifestyle and South Beach and partying on the beach down here, so I think it's pretty appropriate.
Well, good. Thank you. I just wish there were more songs that spoke about Honda in some way, that I could find something different. But in any event, it's still great to have you on. And I know this must be a very, very busy time for you. You're getting all sorts of announcements of who's going to be playing this year. It's real busy. But Why don't we first talk just a little bit, once again, about maybe the history, because not everybody listens every year. So where has this particular tournament come from, and how did you get it to where it is today? A brief history.
Well, it's I'll try to make it brief. You know, the Honda, first of all, Honda Classic, they're the longest running title sponsor on the PGA Tour. This is year 36 for them, so they've outpaced everybody. This tournament actually started, for those listening, it was the Jackie Gleason Ferrari Classic.
Yep.
And then, of course, went on from there. So we've got a phenomenal backdrop with Jackie Gleason in Hollywood, and, of course, back then when Bing Crosby and Sammy Davis Jr. and Andy Williams and Bob Hope, of course, they were all involved in golf. So the history is quite unique. And then, fast forward to 12 years ago, we took it over. We brought it across the street from Mirasol to PGA National.
Yep.
And I can't believe this is our 12th year at PGA National already, which has just been great. It's a wonderful venue. That champion course, the Bear Trap, which you alluded to. People talk about it all the time. And what we've done with the tournament is we've marketed and created more than just a golf tournament. It's really become kind of an outdoor lifestyle event in South Florida. We're now the only golf tournament on the PGA Tour in South Florida, as you know, with Doral, going to Mexico. So we're really pulling people from Dade, with the county. We're pulling people from Orlando, Jacksonville, all over the United States. It's about that lifestyle, and we're just having so much fun. We've got so many great corporate partners, and people come out here, and while, at the core of our business, it is the PGA Tour, which is the most powerful brand in golf. That's the core of our world, but it's also about having fun, and we are a huge social party here on the East Coast, and it's going real well.
So before we talk about the golf and the golfers, as you alluded to, there's a lot more that's going on. So I know in past years you've had concerts and fireworks and, parties and pro-ams and whatever. So what do you got planned this year? Is it anything different or more of the same fun?
Well, it's all about fun. Before we get to the course itself, the entertainment starts Thursday night. We've got a great band called Spasmatics that's playing Thursday, and then they lead into Fusion, which is on Friday, and then we have this great partner. Gosling's Rum is one of our great partners. Their good friend is this phenomenal world-class DJ named Scratch Bastard, and he's got some Bermuda roots, and he's phenomenal. I've heard him. So this year we're going with a lot of fun dance music. It's all about entertainment, keeping it clean and having a good time. Tire Kingdom is sponsoring our fireworks once again. They've got the fireworks on Friday and Saturday night, which, are phenomenal. They're 15, 20-minute shows. They really rival anything you'll see on July 4th or New Year's Eve. And then, of course, all the fun family activities that we have going on. But then, of course, when you get out onto the golf course, new this year, we've expanded the Tito's Stillhouse Lounge, so they've expanded from not only the Bear Trap 17th hole, which also overlooks 18. They've got a observatory, if you will, a bridge going over to the 10th hole, so they're going to have some access and bring that Tito's party over to 10. Of course, the Gosling's Bear Trap will be rocking and rolling as it always does on 16, 17. We have a new partner on number 10 to go with the Great Couture Club, which is our ladies group. Lily Pulitzer is signed on, and we announced that about a month ago. We're getting a lot of traction with that. So the Lily Pulitzer Lounge will be on 10 Green, and that's open to the public. And it's just all about fun. So we're going to have this entire Palm Beach lifestyle deal going on at this tournament. And, again, it's about just creating an environment. And as we say a lot, we're in the entertainment business. We're not in the golf business, and it's funny, we've been talking for 5 minutes, and we haven't even talked about professional golf.
We will get there, but one last thing before we go to golf. We mentioned the kids. What about the military? I know you always do something special for the veterans and the military.
Well, you're so right. It's a critical piece of what we do, and thank you for bringing it up, because United Technologies sponsors our Patriots Outpost, and it's right there on 17. It's all part of that big build-out at 17 at the Bear Trap, and we feed... Last year, we fed close to 12,000 vets, people that are retired, that are still in the service, et cetera, et cetera. They come in for free. We have a new shuttle program for the injured that have a hard time, the disabled have a hard time coming down. SunPass is sponsoring that for us. So we'll have, shuttles going up and down from the entrance down to the UTC Patriots Outpost. And it's awesome. And what's so cool about that as well is the players, as you know, they walk off the tee and they literally walk right in front of the Patriots Outpost, and the players are saluting the vets, and the vets are saluting the players, and it's really, really special. And They're kind of the lead-in after you get past the Goslings and the Cobra Puma Lounge. They're the lead-in to 17, and then followed up by the Devonshire Wine Garden, and then, of course, Tito's and, Waterford and so on and so forth. So they're in a great spot where we would never move them from there because they have such a great time. And to see these people that have, risked their life for our freedoms is pretty neat. I meet several times each tournament. I meet people that are still from, World War II, all the way back then. And these folks, of course, are in their 90s. And I met a woman, was one of the first women in World War II way back when, 2 years ago. A pretty special moment.
Well, I think we've made everybody wait long enough. So why don't we talk a little bit about some of the players? I know Sergio, you just announced that he's on board, Masters champion, so that was good to hear.
Yeah, it was great. Sergio's been a friend of the tournament for a while, and after he won the Masters, of course, these guys, as you know, they get pulled every which way. And luckily, Sergio's a veteran. He's been around the game long enough, and I think he managed his first major win better than others. Yeah, he's coming back, and his manager is a great friend, and the crowd really embraces Sergio, and he's a very he obviously being from Spain, he's got that fire in his belly, and he lets how he's playing, but he's full of energy and just a real believer in what we're doing. I believe the Honda is going to be his first competitive tournament on U.S. soil, which is quite a testament, I think, to what we're doing. And now it's for him, it's the prep and the lead up to defending his Masters championship, which last year was phenomenal.
Now, of course, there are many other great players that will be out there trying to stop Sergio from winning. You want to talk a little bit about some of the rest of the field?
Well, we're so fortunate. I mean, our field just goes on and on and on, and it's great. I mean, Ricky Fowler, of course, is defending. While we haven't formally announced him, obviously he's coming back, and he'll be involved with our media day on February 13th on Tuesday morning early, and so Ricky will be there. I saw Ricky in San Diego last week, and we were talking about it. And he's really looking forward to coming back. He lives in our community, and it's. I think people forget or don't understand the pressure that you're under when you live in a community to play well in your community. And when you go to L.A. or San Diego or Houston or D.C. or wherever, and you know a lot of people, but when you're a hometown kid and you live here, and we have 40 tour players that live here, all of a sudden you've got those, what we call them, those February friends. People are coming out. You're pulled left and right. So for Ricky to be able to focus like he did last year, come down the stretch, play so well in that final round, a few little mishaps in the middle of the round, but then, of course, he regained and just, saw it through. And, of course, Sergio was right there once again. And, Adam Scott, won it the year before. So Adam will be back. Sergio, Ricky, Rory McIlroy, he gave us an early commitment early before Christmas. So that was a nice Christmas present from Rory. And
he looks like he's back.
Yeah, he's back. He's played well, obviously, at Abu Dhabi and Dubai. He probably should have won one, if not both of those. But he's really playing well, and actually we saw, he has a home here as well, and we saw him over the holidays, and he's really looking forward to coming back. So if you remember when he won in 2012, he went to number one in the world by winning the Honda. So, this is part of his comeback. He's back to 8th in the world after his injuries, and, I don't think he's going to stop till he gets back to number one again.
Well, and many, many other players. I see Alex Noren, who was up at the top of the leaderboard, I guess, last week, and Tommy Fleetwood, who's been really playing well too. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not right up there at the top of the leaderboard. It's some other locals like Daniel Berger, who I think is in second place today at the tournament, right behind our champion there, our defending champion. So it should be wonderful. So now that we already told everybody about all the fun, we told everybody about the great golfers, the last thing I think we have left is to tell everybody how they could get tickets so they could come out and support this wonderful event, and also save a minute or two, because I also want to hear about all the charities that you support in the community, which is very important as well.
Well, I was going to jump into that first, if I may. I mean, the PGA Tour is all about philanthropy. Every event on the PGA Tour is a 501c3. I mean, our 501c3 children's healthcare charity, we DBA Honda Classic Cares. Terribly important. We raised $3.6 million last year. We gave back into the community. Nicholas Children's Healthcare Foundation, that's Jack and Barbara. Their foundation is our primary beneficiary. They received $1 million from us last year as well, and we sprinkled the rest of it throughout our community. And it continues to grow. Honda now, we surpassed $35 million to charity for the history of the Honda Classic last year. And, you know, we're going to do well. We hope to eclipse the $3.6 million this year. I think we will. And, you know, if we're extremely fortunate with some last-minute commits from, you know, some other players, you know, of which, you know, I think we hopefully get a big one.
Yeah, hopefully.
You know, I hope we eclipse that $4 million mark to charity. But, you know, back to the players for a minute. Brooks Koepka, obviously a local guy, was in.